I'm Susan Galassi, Senior Curator at the Frick Collection, and I'd like to introduce you to a special loan, Vincent van Gogh's Portrait of a Peasant from the Norton Simon Museum in Pasadena, which is on view in the Oval Room. Everything in this painting contributes to its expressive power. The sitter faces us directly, head and shoulders frontal, and pushed up to the surface. Colors are strong, primaries and secondaries, and the outlines bold. The lively hand of the artist moving his brush through thick paint creates a textured effect on the surface of the painting, giving the subject's weathered face a rough-hewn effect. His eyes, painted in brilliant colors, underlie the impact of his gaze. The Portrait of a Peasant was painted in Arles in the south of France, where Van Gogh spent 15 months between February 1888 and May 1889, a period of intense productivity and innovation. Vincent van Gogh was born in Holland in 1853, the son of a clergyman. His early work, such as this Head of a Peasant, and his first masterpiece, The Potato Eaters, show his sympathy for the plight of rural workers, whose lives he wanted to dignify through portraiture. The earthy tones and spirituality of these works reflect his profound love for Rembrandt and other 17th century Dutch masters, as well as the 19th century French realist Jean-François Millet. Emulating Millet, whose famous Man with a Hoe he admired, Van Gogh described himself as a peasant painter. In 1886, Vincent moved to Paris, where his brother and closest confidant, Theo, was an art dealer. In the French capital, he met members of the Impressionist and Post-Impressionist groups and responded to their bright palettes and their methods of painting in short, colorful strokes, as we see in this work by Georges Seurat. Such paintings inspired Van Gogh's own change of palette and technique during his 2 years in Paris. Living in the metropolis proved difficult for the artist, however, and he sought a simpler life where he could live more cheaply and closer to the earth. In February of 1888, he left for Arles in Provence. In the late 19th century, Arles was renowned for its Roman ruins, folk festivals, bullfighting, and its strong sense of regional identity, as seen in the preservation of customs of dress, as well as dialect and its literary tradition. Van Gogh responded to his new environment's clear light and vivid colors, capturing its distinctive landscape and the changing seasons in his paintings. Informed by color theory and the Japanese prints he collected, as well as by his friend Gauguin's exploration of the relationship of color and emotion, Vincent intensified his palette, exaggerating the colors of nature, in an effort to get at something beyond the visible, the essence of the South and its culture. While he painted some of his most beautiful landscapes in Arles, as well as images of the town, his deeper interest lay in the figure. His figurative work in Arles was nothing less than a reinvigoration of the genre of portraiture, resulting in a series of different types of people of the city. For example, a Zouave soldier stationed there, a postman, a poet, and of course, a peasant. In his frequent letters to his brother, Vincent wrote about his commitment to portraiture, quote, "The change that I'm going to try to make in my paintings will be to do more figures. In short, it's the only thing in painting that moves me deeply and that gives me a sense of the infinite, more than the rest." In another letter, he identified his sitter as Patience Escalier, a gardener and former ox herd from the Camargue, a romantic figure akin to the American cowboy. Like his earlier sitters in Holland, Patience appealed to Van Gogh as a man of the earth, a defining characteristic he sought to express in his portrait, though now with radical new means of expression. After completing the painting, he immediately made a drawing after it and sent it to his brother, translating the graphic energy of his brushwork into the dots and dashes of his pen. And he would paint a second version a few weeks later. While the work exudes a sense of vitality and spontaneity, It was made in several sessions with careful planning and execution. Vincent reflected on the steps he was making in his frequent letters to his brother. His goal, in his portraits, he wrote, was to capture the essence of his sitter through color. As he put it, quote, "Instead of trying to render exactly what I have before my eyes, I use color more arbitrarily in order to express myself forcefully." For his portrait of the peasant, color linked the man back to the earth that he worked and that shaped his appearance. Abutting large areas of primary and secondary colors create vibrations where they meet, while the face is a concentration of energetic lines, dashes, and touches of paint. Note the turquoise and red brought into the eyes, and the cool green of the jacket repeated in the beard, examples of his concept of arbitrary color. Through analogy, he fuses the man and his environment into a whole. The yellow of his round-domed hat is a surrogate for the sun. The contrasting blue, which increases its brilliance, suggests the azure of the midday sky. Vincent described the sitter to Theo as the terrific man whom he painted in the very furnace of harvest time deep in the south. Hence, the oranges blazing like red-hot iron, hence the old gold tones glowing in the darkness. Words which reveal the almost mythical power he ascribed to his subject and captured through the power of color and the bold sureness of his brushwork. Vincent van Gogh's Portrait of a Peasant, Patience Escalier, will remain on view at the Frick Collection until January 20th, 2013.